All right, hi guys, welcome back to the Honey Podcast. I'm Dani and this is Ibby, and today we will be buzzing with a very special guest. Joining us today is Barry Conrad. He is a singer, songwriter, and actor. Just have a lot of cool stuff going on that we're going to get to talk about today. You've done roles on Power Rangers, Ninja Storm, and you've done the movie The Sapphires, and you've also done some work on Broadway. So we've got a whole bunch to talk about today. So let's get started with your acting career. Where did you get your start? Nice, easy question for you.
Right. Well, first of all, thanks for having me. I'm really excited to be here and chatting with you. How I got my start? I'm from South Africa. So I moved from South Africa to New Zealand with my family. And over there, I started studying. I started studying with a coach from LA, actually, Karen Leclerc. And I first initially studied to get into screen, like TV and film.
Mm-hmm.
But when I moved to Australia, I fell into theater. I initially kind of wanted to put it off. I was like, all my friends that do it, it takes them away. It's like a long commitment and having commitment issues. I'm like, I don't want to do it. And then finally this show came my way called Violet. And Violet was a Broadway show, a Tony Award-winning Broadway show. And it came my way in Sydney, and it was a short run. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to give this a go. The character really resonated with me. The story was beautiful. And so I thought, let me give this a shot. And from there, I kind of caught the bug. And it just like rolled into like the next show and the next show. And then 5 consecutive shows later. It's been amazing. Yeah.
Wow, that's incredible. That's quite a way to start it, of course. And you nailed 3 of my questions right off the bat. So great job with that. So as far as getting your start on Broadway, and do you prefer that still, or what would you say is your favorite, screen TV, big screen TV, or Broadway?
You know what? It's very different. Theater is very big and quite demonstrative, and you got to play to the seats in the back of the house, and where screen is very nuanced and very subtle. Mm-hmm. And I love, I'm really fascinated with that. And I think because I am on a TV show now, and I think because I'm in that zone, I'm more focused on that. But I've loved being on stage because I feel like the cool thing about theater is it rounds you out as a performer, as a singer, as an actor, as a performer, because you have to just be able to, each crowd is different. It's never the same. Anything can happen. Malfunctions, forget your lines, crack on your notes, whatever. So it's perfect training. But for me, I love screen because it's so, the challenge is not doing anything when you want to do so much. Don't indicate so much. I'm sad, I'm happy. It's not just about that, because as human beings, we're walking contradictions.
Right.
Oftentimes people ask us, how are you? Great. But you're not really great. So,
Totally.
So, I'm preferring that at the moment, but I love it all, really. How about you? What do you prefer watching, or do you perform?
Honestly, I was just about to say that I'm totally not a performer at all. So I really couldn't say, I would not be able to do any of that. I would forget my lines totally. I would get so nervous. I would just, I would not be able to do that. I can't remember anything. But I would say, as far as watching, I love it all. I've really enjoyed Broadway. I used to see shows every year. We would drive up to New York and see different shows. Unfortunately, we haven't been able to do that this year. And I love movies. I love TV too. So I couldn't really pick, but I would say I would go with Broadway as well, just because, like you said, it's such a production, and it's singing, it's dancing, it's moving, it's the costumes. It's just so intricate. So I would definitely say that. What about you,
I played the same, probably. I was a big theater kid in high school. So I was always in the drama classes and the chorus classes, but I always wound up towards the end of my high school doing the stage manager, the background kind of things. And that was so much fun, kind of sound boothing and watching everything happen and watching all the hard work come to life on stage. That was so cool. I was not really the on-stage performer type, but I really liked the behind the scenes of that. So I think I would prefer Broadway, especially looking at it from that point of view, I guess. So
yeah. See,
I would cool. They're so cool.
I would not be able to take on that responsibility of being a screen, the behind the scenes person. I would mess it up instantly.
Like, oh, they were supposed to be on stage 5 minutes ago. What happened? Sorry.
Yep.
Especially at 15 when you're like, oh, my bad. We were talking about One Direction. So sorry. We got distracted. Sorry, they're not on stage.
Honestly, that's me at 30. I would still do the same thing. So
Sorry.
honestly, I commend you for all you do because I am not good at any of it. So
I thought Delaware was like a hotspot for.
big things happen in Delaware. Actually, the only actress or actor to come out of Delaware that has like a big deal now is Aubrey Plaza is actually from Delaware. So that's all we've got going on here. And I think like that's it. But she got out of here. I don't think I ever will, unfortunately. So I just have to take on the role of talking to cool people who do cool things. That's what I'm doing.
What drew you ladies into doing this, into talking to artists and actors? And
honestly, for me, I could say I met someone. I went to a lot of concerts, a lot of shows, and I met someone through there who got me connected with Ibby and the Honeypot. And I love music, so that's like my big thing. And I got the opportunity to come on and start this podcast and with the team, and it's just been awesome.
Yeah, the Honeypot really started with realizing as fans that like a lot of journalism like outlets and media outlets didn't ask the questions that we actually wanted the answers to as fans. It would be like it started like personally. I've been a really big Five Sauce fan for a really long time. And we realized that even like 5, 6 years, 7 years into their career, they were still being asked, "Oh, what color are you gonna dye your hair next? Like, how do you start your songwriting process?" Like, nothing exactly. So we were like, this kind of sucks. Like, this sucks really bad. Nobody actually like wants them to be asked these questions anymore. So we decided to take initiative and start the Honeypot and become fans that would ask the questions that other fans wanted to know, and just like I guess snowballing from an online like website, online website, but like just by like snowballing from that and now becoming the podcast and having all these like opportunities to speak to artists like yourself and ask questions that we feel like are actually important and not just fillers. Like that's kind of what prompted the whole thing.
I think that's really cool because a lot of the time, like you do get asked. Like I'm nowhere obviously as big as Five Sauce or anything, but in interviews and stuff, like you get asked the same thing, like and really generic questions, and it's not inspiring, and it's not. It makes you feel like the person isn't really interested,
Right.
or hasn't like done their research, or not that like you deserve this, then the other, but just like if you're gonna like take time to do an interview, like ask interesting questions or don't be boring.
Right. I think it's so much more interesting to do things this way just because we get the opportunity to kind of learn your personalities. And like, that's what the world's all about, learning these people's personalities and getting to know them other than an artist. Because I know a lot of the times, especially like artists like feel like they're lost in it all. So it's definitely a cool experience.
I think because it's so saturated and anyone can kind of be out there now too, it's good to kind of get that. Now we can Zoom each other and call.
Right.
Straight away. Sometimes when you just listen to a song or see a project, there's only so much you can get from that. But talking to someone, you can kind of get that vibe, you know?
Absolutely. You get it. You really get it. I love that. So
I'm a fan too, I'm a music fan. I love music and film, and I'm interested in people's stories. It's fun.
That's awesome. I mean, you are a great podcast guest. Thanks a lot. You're just rocking it out.
You want like a permanent position? Like you can just join the team.
Yes. Just come on board. We'll keep you around. So you are working on a cool role on Neighbors. Can you tell us a little bit about that? Like what you got going on there, about the show itself and everything?
Right. So Neighbors, especially for the viewers out there and the listeners in America, it's a soap opera. So like a Days of Our Lives kind of a thing. And it's Australia's longest running TV drama. It's been going for 35 years. And I came on board in 2019 first, initially just as like a one-off guest. And I am a bad boy. I play this bad boy, Kane Jones. And he starts this like illegal fight club. and I get this guy involved and I go to jail, but then I get out of jail and I start this illegal blackjack game ring. So it's from trouble to trouble, but he's so much fun to play, and it's so opposite to my personality. So it's even more fun to play. So you got to check out some clips if you can.
I don't know if you guys saw my face, but when you said bad boy, it like lit up. I was like, obviously, I like bad boys over here. But I definitely see that being difficult because you don't seem like the type. So do you find it like hard like to like be a bad boy? You seem so kind and like nice and everything. So do you find it hard to be a like play that role?
You know what? I feel like it's fun because it is so opposite to me. I don't think that it's hard. I feel like everyone's got light and dark in them. Like we all human, and so it's fun to like bring it out. It's like an excuse to bring it out and to. It's fun to push yourself as well and be challenged by directors like more. I need more of this, you know. And it's exciting for me. I love rising to a challenge. Like I thrive on direction. I thrive on being on the floor with the actors, with the director, like we want this, we want that, like bring it. That's like I come alive. So playing Kane is like awesome. And he's cheeky too, like he's fun, but when he gets intimidating, oh man, you gotta.
I gotta watch it. I do.
I can't wait.
I know. I'm like, I want to see it right
You're gonna
now.
be like, is this the same guy?
So like you said, when you were in Violet, that you really resonated. Excuse me, I can talk. I promise. You really resonated with that character and stuff. So it was awesome for you to play. Do you find like this is the total opposite, like this character?
The character I played on Violet, his name is Flick, and he's an African American soldier that falls in love with. I don't know if you know the story, but she's basically this white American woman, young woman traveling through America, searching for healing. She feels like she has this physical deformity, but in the end, it's actually, she gets inner healing by meeting Flick and Flick's partner, Monty. They're both soldiers, and she falls in love with my character. But it resonated with me because my parents are also interracial and I'm mixed. So that whole story of like interracial love, also finding healing and hope was special. This character resonated too, but in a different kind of a way, because it's all I needed to add another bow to my I need another challenge as well as an actor, and also I feel like, funnily enough, I slip pretty easily into this kind of vibe. Like I enjoy it a lot. It's not something that's scary. It's something that actually comes pretty, not easy, but pretty easy. So it's good. I enjoy it. Yeah. What do you like to watch in the States? Like, do you watch any soap operas over there?
I mean, I definitely do. I would say I like more of the comedy side of things, but I do love a good soap opera. I mean, I would say the most recent one I watched is like, does 13 Reasons Why count? Like, is that a soap opera? I mean, I don't really know.
It feels like it. Like almost. Like if teenagers made their own soap opera.
Yeah.
Like, pretty much.
Yeah. I mean, like I definitely would be into watching that. And I know we have a couple people that have already said how good of a show it is on our team. So I'm definitely interested to see it.
Funny because people like message me. The funny thing about acting is people think you're the character. So I get these messages on social media. I can't believe you're this mean. Like, it's not me. It's Kane. It's different.
Oh my goodness. I can imagine the amount of DMs are like insane and what they say to you. Oh gosh. So as far as acting, you've told us all kinds of cool things about that. And you also are a musician. So can you tell us a little bit about how your start with music came about?
Well, my family is quite musical. So my dad played guitar and sang all throughout my childhood. And my mom recorded an album with the church choir when she was a kid. So I was always around music. And I always sang, and I would write poetry that eventually became songs. But I never thought I could do it like as a job. I just, when sometimes something comes naturally, you don't think it could be like a job. It's just like what I do. until very like much later on. I was like, I got to give this a shot. And then I moved to New Zealand with my family for better opportunities, and it's quite hard in South Africa, crime-wise, financially. So my parents wanted to give us a better shot. So we moved to New Zealand, and from there, I got into a singing, breakdancing crew.
That's
And
awesome.
we toured New Zealand and everything, and we got to a point where, okay, it's kind of like we've done what we can here. Then we moved to Australia as a group. And with most groups, you break up, not most, but a lot of groups, you break up. And I was like, what am I going to do? My life was over. You know, I thought this was it. And I had to find another way. And I was like, okay, I still want to do this myself. And I just persisted. I just would knock on doors. There was this one time where I persisted so much just to like get a show, like a gig. Like I must have sent them like a dozen emails. And they were like, okay, we'll give you a show. Stop emailing us. So, I mean, you just have to like be persistent. And I just knocked on doors, and from there, I got into the scene behind the scenes, writing songs for other artists, doing background vocals, and then I did X Factor, and that gave me like a massive, like a lot of exposure, and I used that to build what I have now, which is great. I'm in the front now. I'm acting on like a show, doing my thing. But yeah, it's been a long journey, but it's been exciting. Yeah,
for sure. I know. As far as X Factor, that was one of my next questions. So that's awesome that you brought it up. How do you like how do you use that and also disconnect from that? Like, do you feel like you're the same musician that you were on the show versus doing your own thing?
absolutely not.
Yeah. So can you tell me like how you're different? Let's hear about that.
You know, reality TV is an interesting thing because, and I'm really careful with how I answer this because on one hand, it gave you the exposure that you have to afford what you got now. On the other hand, it can be quite damaging as well if you don't go into it realizing that first and foremost, it's a show. It's a show, and every person on there is like cast member, the quirky girl, the Asian guy, the black guy, whatever, and like the fun person, the boring person, the indie person, like whatever. Everyone's ticking like some sort of a box that the producers want. And so if you realize it's entertainment first, and it's not necessarily there to serve you, it's to serve them.
Mm-hmm.
And then realizing, cool, I can use this exposure for my benefit afterwards.
Right.
So you don't have much control in terms of, to answer your question, creatively. You don't have control over what you sing or what you wear or any of that. All you can give them is in your sound bites. Obviously, they edit what they can, but give them as much as you can of your truth and what you're going through. And then the rest is like on the cutting room floor. They have to edit it the way they do. But, you know, I wanted to showcase more of like my singer-songwriter side because that's what I am. Like I'm a writer and a singer. Whereas on the show, I was pushed more as like, more like a funky, like up-tempo, like just typical sort of a pop star kind of a thing, which is cool because I also do that. But I didn't get to really show my writing skills or like, you know, singing a ballad or something like that. So you kind of, you know, take what you can get and go with that. But I've had to like really, and this is another reason why I did theater is because we had to break the stigma that the show maybe caused. Like you're just this reality TV guy. You can't act, you can't do anything else. You can't, you know,
Right.
And changing perceptions is tough as well. Like you gotta, when people are used to seeing you as their first impression as this one thing on TV, it's hard to undo that. So on one hand, it's amazing, like exposure. I learned so much. On the other hand, it's like, man, like perception is really powerful. It's really powerful, like how you choose to present yourself. And that's why I say, use your social media, like segue, but use your social media. It's a privilege. Like you can really present yourself the way you want. Like, you know, you can, you know, so whereas on TV, it's not in your hands at all.
Absolutely. I mean, so many things that you covered there. Number one, I wonder who we would be on that show, like what slot we would fill. I would love to see that. And number two, I think that is such an important like way to look at it. And it's really cool that you've used it positively, even though like you didn't get to put your whole self into it. So that's awesome. And I love what you're doing now.
I'm also not knocking it. I'm also not knocking it because it really, you know, I am grateful for the opportunity. And also it was a really massive turning point for me as a person, because at the time I lost my second mother to cancer at the same time of the show. So, for example, Red Foo, I don't know if you know him, he's a star over there in America. And he was one of the mentors, the judges on the show. And the night before the boot camp round, you know, the boot camp where you sing the a cappella and then you do the group songs and stuff. The night before the a cappella round, they threw a party for us just to kind of, you know, it's exciting. You've all made the top 24 or whatever, top 12. And on the way back from the party, I got a text from my second brother saying she's gone. So I didn't even get to say goodbye to her when she passed away. So she encouraged me to do this show because I was kind of at a point where I've been working behind the scenes for a minute and I was mentoring contestants for that season of the show. I had no intention of auditioning. And then she was like, Barry, you got to go for this. Like this, you know, life is short. You know, she was on her way out and she was like, do this, you got to go for it. And so to not be able to say goodbye to her, I think that combined with being at that turning point, being in the thick of it all, being on the TV thing, it was almost like a catalyst for so much growth. So I think even more than professionally, I'm so grateful for the show, for the growth that it kicked off. So I don't know if I'd be the same person if I hadn't done it for all those reasons.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Whew. That must have been like super tough for you. And I think it's like great that you used it as a like growing thing. How would you say you like push through, like, how would you push through that? Cause I know I would be like, I can't do the show anymore. Like, did you just do it for her?
Very much so. I mean, that next morning when we did the a cappella round and I went up to, basically it's, picture this, you're in this room for hours on end with like a bunch of people and you're not allowed to like sing under your breath you have to just be cold. You walk up, grab the mic and sing a cappella with no music for like, it's terrifying already, but
God.
with the knowledge that the night before I lost my second mom, that's the only thing in my mind,
Right.
coupled with this crazy, unrealistic environment where you would never have to be in the situation to sing. And my mentor, who became my mentor, Dani Minogue, Kylie Minogue's sister, she said, you look scared. And I just said, I'm going through a lot right now. And I told her what happened. And she's like, you know, they empathized. I still sang well and everything, but I absolutely used that as my strength to get through the show. I had to, you know, it's the only way I could do it.
No other choice but to do it, you know, using those emotions, that's amazing. And actually gives me a segue into my next question for you. You mentioned that you do a lot of songwriting. So what does that process look like for you typically?
I love this question because I love talking about writing. There's so many ways. Oftentimes, like I'll be cooking in the kitchen and a song idea will come to me. A lot of the times I don't write with an instrument necessarily. I get melodies and lyrics at the same time. Oftentimes more melody, but sometimes chunks of lyrics at the same time. And I just record it into my phone. And then I play it back later. And sometimes it's good. And sometimes I'm like, it wasn't good at all. But my latest single, Ocean Road, came about that way. I hadn't written for a long time. I was going through a bit of a drought as a songwriter, like writer's block. And it was during COVID. I was locked in my apartment. I was cooking, you know, as you do, you're cooking more during COVID. And, pretty much the whole chorus came to me and I was like, okay, I haven't had this happen in a minute. And I knew that I had to sort of lean into it that way. Other times I'll get a track from a producer, what we call top line writing, which is like you get sent a track and then I'll put the track into a session like Pro Tools or Logic and you just jam to it. I record my initial, like my first instincts, I record what I'm doing. And then I listen back and go, cool, I'll keep that, use that, discard that. And then I'll write lyrics to that. And that's really cool too. You chop it up. So that's top line writing. And then other times I'll write with, I'll get into a room with like a guitarist or a keyboard player and we'll just start from scratch. Let's start jamming. Let's see, what do we want to write about? Or we'll get a brief. We might get a publishing brief and say, so-and-so needs a song that's like this or like Katy Perry or like this. And then cool, let's try to write something like that. So there's so many ways, but it's exciting. I love it.
Do you feel like you ever have a hard time like letting go of a song that you write? Like, oh, I want to keep this for myself. Because I feel like I would always do that. I'm selfish.
Do you write?
No, but like if I would be like, I want to keep this one for myself.
I feel like every songwriter could probably say this. Like it's like your baby. Like a part of you is in that thing, and you can't not be attached to it. But it's kind of like it is what it is. Uh, Oftentimes though, I'll write songs and I'll know that it's not for me. Like, oh, I really like the song, but it's not my vibe. It's not my style. But I love the song, and then I'll pitch it. I prefer to do that rather than writing to a brief because I feel like sometimes that's like limiting. Like
Yeah.
you have to do it like that. When it flows and you just know, cool, this is dope, but it's not me, so I'll give it away. And either way, you don't really give it away because you get royalties, which is a good thing. But yeah, definitely you want to keep the good ones for yourself, right?
Of course. I'm sorry, Ibby, did you have a question? You look like you were gonna ask something before I
No,
cut you
hi.
off.
I was just nodding along.
Okay. I was like, I think I talked, I love to talk clearly, so.
What's your favorite? What's your girl's favorite music that you like, to, or some artist that you like?
Go ahead, Ibby, you could go first.
Oh Lord. I listen to literally anything. That's my biggest thing is that I can't think of a genre of music that I don't like at least 5 songs from it. Like I predominantly listen to K-pop. I'll admit that I'll just go ahead and kill the elephant in the room and just shut it down. But I also listen to, like I already said before, I like Five Sauce a lot, and I like a lot of pop punk and a lot of like bands. But I like anything, honestly. So
Nice. What about you?
So I love to talk about this. I'm not even kidding you when I say I mention it, like name drop what kind of music I like every single episode that we've done so far. But I really am really into pop punk and like punk rock hardcore music. Stuff like that. I just like I love going to shows. I love live bands and like yeah, pop punk is definitely my number one though, I would say.
I can see that now that you said like the ensemble and the whole
Yeah,
vibe. Like,
I totally fit it. That's why when we were talking about who you like how you fit into the show, I was like, I would be the alternative girl. Like that would totally be that would totally be what they would sell me for.
well, my song is very much not pop punk.
I
Particular
still
song.
like it though. I'm not a hater on
Yeah,
any genre, like Ibby said.
yeah.
I know talent when I see it, so I think the song is awesome. What
It's just
about you? What kind of music do you listen to?
I'm with you. I like it all. I love a well-written pop song, like a good hook, something that's catchy, but then I also like abstract stuff too. I just like good writing. And I'm into singers, like people that can sing, you know. In saying that, if a song's good, I don't care if you're a good singer or not, because I feel like the true test of a good song is if anyone can sing it
Hmm.
and it's just a good song. You don't have to be amazing to be able to sing the song. I love pop. I love R&B. I love country. I love a bit of rock. I love a bit of classical music. Um, it just depends on my mood. I think because I grew up in such a eclectic family, we always had different genres playing. I
Hmm.
have a healthy appetite, like a massive buffet of music, so I can appreciate a lot of it. Yeah.
So
love
you
that.
said you really like vocalists. Who's your favorite vocalist?
Oh man, are we talking current, or are we talking like give me like an era and then like give you like a few
Okay,
names?
how about we do two? We can do a like current one and then we can do an old school one.
Okay. Male, I'll do male and female.
Okay,
Two
yeah.
that. Okay. Do we narrow it down to the genre or just two? Mine's just like
I can't make it too easy for you.
yeah. Um, Male and female vocalists currently, I would say today. Well, you got to say Beyonce. She's amazing. Um, uh, John Legend, Lady Gaga. Who else is out there? Um, Bruno Mars. I wouldn't say that's four people already. That's good. That's good old school.
Well, we'll
Old
let
school.
you have four.
Stevie Wonder, Aretha Franklin, Mariah Carey, Brian McKnight, I guess. But yeah, there's so many singers now. I feel like there's a lot of good singers right now on the radio. That's why I was like, I can't just do two. There's more.
Right. As you're naming them, I was just like agreeing and also like thinking of more people. I know like I have to name drop Ariana Grande because she's
Yeah.
just like great.
Ariana. Yeah,
And like
Ariana.
that's not even the type of music I listen to, but she's just really good.
Insane.
And who else was I thinking of? I was thinking of a guy. Um, why can't I think of his name
I
right now?
believe in you.
Well, who sings Blinding Light? He just did
The Weeknd.
Oh,
yeah,
Weeknd,
oh my
Weeknd.
God. I don't know why I couldn't think of his name. Yeah, The Weeknd. I think he's really, really, really good too. So, I mean,
I
there's
feel really embarrassed that I didn't pick Ariana because I love Ariana's new album. I think it's so sick. Yeah, and she's amazing.
honestly, it's been a common theme for a couple of our guests in the past. So, like, that's why I had to bring her up because one of our somebody said that her album was like one of their albums of the year. And I was like, wow, I gotta check that out then. And like I said, totally not my type of music, but I loved it. I mean, she's incredible.
Yes, she is. I mean, you know what? I was sleeping on her for a while, and then as soon as I like got it, I'm like, she's actually amazing. Like,
Right.
just because she's a little girl, don't be fooled. Like, she can sing. She can
Yeah.
really sing. Yeah.
She's just, she's great, honestly.
Mhm.
Now I'm like thinking again about albums of the year. So I'm gonna have to give you another hard question and ask you
No,
what your
no,
album of the year
I
is.
can't. Because I'm gonna overlook someone, and I'm gonna be really embarrassed. So I'm not gonna answer that
Okay,
question.
okay, fine. I won't give you that one. But how about what's an album that you've listened to a lot this year?
Uh, can I look at my Spotify?
Yes, I'll let you look.
One phone a friend.
Well, look, what about you? What same question to you?
For this year, oh my goodness, I gotta look at my Spotify too.
I can already say because I know this, Danny knows this, but Shiny's like the K-pop group Shiny's new album has been on repeat since it came out like 2 weeks ago. It's become seriously an earworm, like a disease, is what my friends and I call it. When we can't stop listening to something, we're like, "Oh my God, I have a disease! It's this song." But that
I
album,
like
I can't stop listening
that.
to.
Okay, so my top actual like new stuff that I'm listening to is Positions, Ariana Grande, her album, Harry Styles, and B7, which is Brandy's album. So there's three.
Okay,
Nice.
I
Yeah,
respect that lineup. I definitely do.
It's a great lineup.
it's very different. Harry
I
Styles, Ariana, Brandy.
right? I like that. I like the variation there. That's awesome.
What about you?
I'm looking and I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah,
Um,
it's quite young in the like we're still early days, you know.
right. I would say it's more of like last year's albums, but I really liked Mac Miller's Circles. I was like really obsessed with that album. Um, and then a pop punk band that I'm into, Knuckle Puck, they dropped an album. I listened to that a lot. And um, Neck Deep, I also like another pop punk band. I will say that Ibby has been trying to get me into K-pop and she is succeeding. Like it's really crazy. I don't know if you've ever went into that genre, but like once you get started, you won't be able to like stop.
No, I watched Blackpink's documentary.
Mhm.
They're sick. They're amazing. Like what the hell?
Right?
Yeah, so I'm into it. I'm into it. Like BTS, like I don't have their stuff, but I love what they do. So I think maybe I should listen to more of that. What do you recommend I listen to? You tell me.
Um, See, I started listening to K-pop like before BTS was even like a thing. So all of my favorite groups are like old now. But like my favorite group is Shiny, and I think that they're one of the like I'm trying to think of like the right word. Like somebody made a joke on Twitter saying that they were like the mitochondria of K-pop. But I think that's kind of true. Like I think that would kind of fit them. So I'd say Shiny. Another really big one right now would be like ATEEZ or Stray Kids, groups like that. Stray Kids I know is like self-produced, self-written. All of their songs have got at least one of the members having written on it, which is super cool. They have a whole producer line, so that's really neat to me, and part of what drew me to them to begin with. Um,
You're saying so I'm writing this down. So Stray Kids.
Yeah, Stray Kids.
So Stray Kids.
Ironic because they're not kids anymore, but
Stray Kids, Shiny.
yeah, which is like Shine, but with an extra E on the end.
Yeah. And then what was the other one?
ATEEZ. It's like ATEEZ.
Cool. I'm gonna give that a listen to today.
Nice. That's exciting.
I know she loves that. She loves that.
I do. I'm spreading my agenda. The disease is spreading.
I mean, I'm telling you, you said you like really good vocalists and talent and all that. They've got it all. I mean, it's just like a whole nother world. It's crazy.
It really is.
Yeah. And have you ladies been over there before? Like been over to where like Japan and Korea and all that?
I so wish. I've been all over the US, but never outside of it. So
yeah.
Same. I wish. Oh,
it's on my bucket list.
Australia, and like that was like that's a bucket list place to travel for me.
You have to do it. You have to come. It's beautiful. The city's cool. There's a lot to do. The food's good.
Everything.
All the boxes. Good music, good live gigs. It's good.
I'm sold.
How bad are
honestly.
the spiders actually? Like...
Great question.
I'm not really, okay, this is my thing. I'm not really scared of spiders or snakes, but when it comes to rats or mice or anything like that, count me out. I'm done. I can handle spiders, so it's fine. I don't care.
Yeah, I feel like I agree with that. I used to say that I wasn't scared of like snakes, but I actually am. And spiders are not bad. Because like I feel like you can take a spider, you know? But a snake, I don't know. No, I can't take a spider.
Like you'll see those like pretty girls with like the snakes wrapped around their arms and their fingers on Twitter, and you're like, oh my god, that's so cute. Like I kind of want one, and then you see one like in your front yard, and you're like, oh no.
I totally agree with that. You like read my mind. I absolutely agree. And also for me, I think a thing with this having a snake would be I would not be able to like feed it mice, and I understand that it has to eat mice like to live, but like I could not do that. I
feel so guilty.
Me too. I would be like, nope, keep it up. Nope,
how do you look this creature in the eyes and say your life is not worth as much as my pet?
Oh my god, like, no.
It's terrible. Mine's be like a vegetarian snake, you know, vegetarian.
Yeah, like that would happen. I would not be able to do that.
Skinny snake, very skinny.
God. Poor snake would not survive. Oh my goodness.
Well, the spiders here are like literally, like some of them are the size of your hand. So say, yep,
oh my god,
bad. Yeah.
Okay, I could not take that spider. I lied.
I think I'd just die. I think
Me too. The spider would take my home and just live there.
You know those shows like Fear Factor. You know where you get thrown in like a thing.
Oh,
Could you handle like either spiders all over you for a minute or rats all over you for a minute? But you were protected, but you could see it and still feel it.
I would rather have the spiders, 100%.
I would rather have the rats.
No.
I don't know why.
No way.
The spiders have their legs, like that's like 4 times the amount of legs that you would have. No,
but like rats have the little hands, like they would be like just.
Okay, but like spiders have the little like hairy legs. Like, no thanks.
I'm getting like a reaction right now just thinking about it.
Oh my gosh, me too.
Absolute hives.
I'm like looking around my house that I know doesn't have rats, but I'm like, Jesus Christ, where are the rats?
What about what do you call it? What's those things that come out of the carpet? Dust mites.
Oh.
I forgot the name of it. They're really nasty. And basically I left like a bit of chicken on the ground and all these things came out of the carpet and I was like, oh man, it was really bad.
Nope.
No.
I really act like I don't hate bugs, but I think that I really do hate bugs, actually.
I hate bugs so bad. I hope that whoever like I wind up settling down with or roommating with or whatever is fully prepared to be the bug killer, because it will not be me. It won't be happening. I would just lock the door and never go in the room again and fine with it.
You're gonna jump on the table and scream, call 911.
I just am never going to sleep tonight because I'm going to be thinking about bugs forever. Oh my gosh. Look what you've done. All right. So moving on from music, I do have a couple more questions for you. So you are an ambassador for Mitsubishi Australia. Can you tell us a little bit about that? What does that entail? And like what you love about it, all that good stuff.
Yeah, so Mitsubishi, I love the way you said it. Mitsubishi.
I had to say it so slow, so I didn't mess it up. Way to call me out, man.
It's sorry. Yeah, it was really, it's really awesome. They're an amazing brand, car brand, internationally. And what actually happened was because I also do some stuff on social media. I don't like to call it influencing, but I guess people could call it that. And so they basically wanted to loan me a vehicle to take away on a road trip because I was doing some content. And they said, hey, we'd love to let you have the car for a couple of days. And I sent the content in and they were happy with it. And then I got offered a contract to be an ambassador. So that was just a thrill because the car is sick. It handles so well. Blue's my favorite color. If you see on my social media, that's my car now. So I love taking it on road trips. It means that I get to be an ambassador for them, be a spokesperson for them. At last year's ARIA Awards, which is like our Grammys, I represented the brand there on the red carpet. So I interviewed artists and celebrities, and also had that whole week leading up to the actual ceremony as well, like different concerts and stuff. So that was thrilling as well because I've never done anything like that before too, even like hosting-esque type stuff. So that was fun. And just working with them in different capacities as an ambassador, it's exciting. And I'm on for another 12 months again. So exciting to see what this new year holds for that. Yeah.
That's a really cool experience, honestly. And you got a car, so that's awesome. So you
And
said
it's cool.
no, go ahead.
It's cool as well because as a singer, like when you first start doing any, like as an actor or a singer, you don't think about all these extra things that you'll get to
Right.
experience. Like it's just different, not perks, but just things that come as a result of you working hard and different opportunities. So I'm really grateful for that, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And you said you got to like interview people and stuff on the red carpet. How do you feel like on the other side of that now?
Uh, I will say that it's not as easy as it looks. You ladies make it look so easy. It's not easy. You gotta like be prepared. You gotta like not stutter, and you
Say
gotta be
words
cool.
wrong.
You're a weirdo. Mitsubishi. You're like an ambassador for Mitsubishi.
A Delaware accent.
Sorry,
Listen,
I'm being really mean. Sorry.
I'm never gonna say that word ever again in my life.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. But no, to answer your question, it was a good challenge. I was nervous as hell going into it because I've never done it before.
Yeah.
But it's good to know that to add that to a skill that hopefully I can keep using at some point. But I have much more respect for journalists and people that interview people because man, it's a hard job and it's energy and like being on and not being flat, all that stuff. It's a lot to think about, and sometimes you got to pivot. Like, oh, this person is not doing this now. We're going to scrap this question, do that. It's like a lot to think about.
For
How do you
sure.
find it?
I mean, you nailed it. I think that like it's definitely a learning curve experience, whatever you want to call it. I think it's an awesome opportunity because I get to talk to some really amazing people and like meet all these awesome personalities. But it's definitely thinking on your feet and like, yeah, just rolling with it, honestly, and
And
saying the
also,
words wrong.
and like reading the vibe because everyone's so different. Like sometimes you might feel like a person's going to be like that and they're not. Then you got to adjust your energy and
Right.
like kind of, it's almost like speak their language to get the answer that you need. So it's definitely like a learning experience. It was like, but at the end of the day, I was like, oh man, give me a glass of wine and like,
Right.
and a pizza.
I mean, what I would also say about it is that like it's like a performance, like for sure, like you said, like of course this is definitely all me. I'm loud and boisterous and all that stuff, but like it's definitely like you really gotta just go in and rock it when you talk to people. So it's kind of like acting. Maybe I am getting good at acting. So you also are a part of Are You Okay? And that's a suicide prevention um, what would you call it? What's the word I'm looking for
Organization.
here? Yes, thank you. Can you tell us about that? I mean, that's an awesome thing to be doing, and I would love to hear more about that.
Yeah, well, I'm a really proud ambassador for them because I've been quite vocal about talking about mental health over the years and just how real it is. And it's a part of real life, and especially for men. Not that I'm trying to be a role model or anything like that, but I just, any moment that I can get to talk about it, my struggles and stuff like that, I feel like it helps normalize, rather than create the stigma
Right.
that we have to be strong and have everything together. So what I do with that is we might go into the field and go into schools, talk to kids, talk about stuff I've struggled with, and kind of like it almost gives them a voice to then say, actually, I went through that too, and it's good to hear someone that went through that, and it's okay. They feel normal because everyone's a human being. Like no one's just because it looks like you have everything together, it doesn't mean that you do. And certainly, if you're on TV or have songs out and stuff, it doesn't mean anything. In fact, that can be, and I'm not going to be, not to be woe is me, but it's isolating. A lot of the time, it's very isolating because the things you experience aren't like everyday things, so not everyone can understand it. So something exciting might happen and it's amazing, but then you can feel really alone. And that is, something that I talk about as well, and just to let people know I don't have it together. I'm very grateful for what I have, and also I struggle with these things. So with Are You Okay? It just gives voice to what people are feeling, and we have events throughout the year and whatnot to talk about that, because so many people suffer in silence, and the simple question is, are you okay? Can change your life. Are you okay? How you doing? Sometimes we, especially if we see our friends that smile all the time, or they seem to be doing well, we equate success as you're doing well. But no, what you do isn't who you are. So if now when I ask someone, how are you? If they go, oh, just busy, I'm like, yeah, and how are you? Because busy isn't how are you. That's what you're doing, your job, And I feel like so many people don't get asked that question. So just, check on your friends every now and then. How you doing? Makes a difference.
100%.
For sure. And I think, like you said, the stigma around men and mental health is like such a big one. So for you to be talking about that and getting people talking, that's incredible. So great job with that. I love that.
That made me so happy because like destigmatizing mental health is one of my biggest, like one of the things I'd say like means the most to me. And I don't think it really like registered until I got some of the diagnoses that I have and realized like had that like moment of like, oh, this kind of sucks. I don't know of anybody that's ever dealt with this before because nobody talks about it. And after like a year, I finally started coming out and saying, hey, like I have this and it's okay. And I'm still me. So like hearing somebody else have that same mission of like, it's okay to like be mentally ill and not be okay. Like that's such a cool thing. And I have so much respect for that.
Awesome. I'm glad that you do the same thing, and I'm glad that you're open about it. I feel like the more we do it, and it doesn't even have to be a woe is me big thing. Like it's just normalizing it. It's not deep. Like this is normal. Let's not make this a big thing. It's normal.
Exactly.
Let's talk about it, encourage people to get help, and just like lift each other up, man. It doesn't cost you anything,
100%.
Yeah. It's free to be a good person. So it's awesome. We got some good people here. All right, so we are coming to the end of this wonderful time that we've had. So my wrap-up question for you is just that, what do we have to look forward to from you in the future? What have you got for us this year?
Well, you definitely have more music coming your way. Maybe not punk pop, but definitely.
I'll still listen, I promise.
But definitely some fresh stuff, which I'm really excited about. Also, new projects, acting projects. So there's a few things happening behind the scenes right now. I can't say it all right now.
I knew you were going to get me with that one. I can't tell you yet.
Yeah, so yeah, new music, new acting projects, and a few other surprises that you haven't seen yet. So very excited.
The good news in all of that is that we're just going to have to bring you back when you can talk about it. So that means there's a second episode in your future. We're going to have you back with us. Is there anything else you'd like to share with listeners before we let you go?
What I would say to listeners is, first of all, thank you for listening and also supporting the Honeypot and tuning into my episode. And also anyone out there who is trying to sing or act or anything like that, just realize that it is possible and you can do it. Work hard, surround yourself with good people. It's possible. You can do it. Go for it. There's no time like now.
Awesome message. Well, we wanted to say thank you again. We are super grateful for you coming out. You've been an amazing guest. We've had a lot of laughs, a lot of good stuff. So I hope people tune into this and just see how awesome you are. And yeah, we'll see you guys next time. And trust us, honey, you don't want to miss this trip.
See ya.